Hey gang, JC here, and this is the Daily Dose for Thursday, February 16th, 2012. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. We're off to a flying stop, boys and girls. We have great television archives top of the page. Our eye candy feature, good one today. I'll tell you about it here in just a minute. And in the corner, the results of our rock and roll poll. I was really curious to see what you guys said about this, and I got my answer. You've probably heard that Afton's own John Goodman has joined the cast of a new television show called Downwardly Mobile with Roseanne. You know, their show ran for 15 years on ABC, the old Roseanne show from 88 to 97, but that show's been out of production for 15 years, so this show is coming on in the fall on NBC, and my question was, can Roseanne and John Goodman recapture the magic? And the answer was a fairly resounding 69% no. Only 31% of you said yes. So I hope the writing's good. Let's leave it at that. All right, pitchers and catchers report to Jupiter, Florida this weekend. So our question today, have you ever been to a Cardinal spring training game? Whether it was the old Al Lang Field down there in St. Petersburg or Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, have you ever seen the Cardinals at spring training? Please answer in the corner. We'll have results for you tomorrow. And along on the Big 550 KTRS, where Trish Gazelle and I are every day from noon until 3. Of course, Eric Mink on Tuesday. Wednesdays are Legal Scott Sherman, professional comedian Joe Marlotti on Thursday. And Smash joins us every Friday. Again, that's on the Big 550 KTRS. When I moved to St. Louis in 1984, almost 28 years ago, we were in the old that old Quonset hut down on Watson Road in the old KC studios. And so I walked into the place and I said, this looks like some place you should store lawn equipment. That's what a dump it was, but it had tradition, it had character, and it was directly across the street from Crestwood Mall. And I spent so much time, especially in 84 and 85, over at Crestwood Mall, because I would get off the air and go over there and have a lunch at it was either the New York or York Steakhouse, and I'd be over there having lunch all the time. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about St. Louis. One of the first girls I dated worked across the street at Crestwood Mall, and I have tremendously fond memories of that place. I had so many meals. My old buddy Bob Scarata had a place called Athens Cafe, and I would go down there and have a gyro after work sometimes. I made so many friends, knew so many people, and hung out there. I say all of this because we got the word today that, and you can see this coming, by the way, the Crestwood Mall is going to shut down. It's like 100 people are going to lose their jobs. It's fascinating to think in that giant, sprawling place, it's only 100 jobs, but that's still a lot. I had heard a rumor a year or two ago that they were going to take that place and turn it into an IKEA store. And for whatever reason, that ended up either not being true, or the plans dissipated, or the negotiations fell through, or whatever. But it seemed to me that would be a great place. In recent years, they've sort of turned that into an artisan community, and I heard that it was doing actually fairly well with that idea, but apparently not, and that's it. This is a rough economy, folks. Speaking of which, are you ready for $5 gas by the Memorial Day weekend? It might be a little lower here, but in places like Chicago and Atlanta, they're saying $4.95 a gallon by the Memorial Day weekend. Have a nice day. All right, Fox Sports Midwest is going to televise 5 Grapefruit League games down in Florida, March 17th against Detroit, 19th Atlanta, 20th Houston, 22nd Washington, and 24 the New York Mets. They'll replay those games in the evening if you're at work. I'm ready to kill the next person who plays I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. And it ain't going to stop. This is I was literally changing stations last night, and every single station I went to was doing something about the death of Whitney Houston. So we're not out of this yet. I have some fascinating facts about the song I Will Always Love You. For example, Dolly Parton, as we knew, wrote it. It was not about a personal breakup. It was about a professional breakup, her split with Porter Wagoner back in 1973, somebody who sort of discovered her and that she toured with, even did some goofy television commercials with back in the day. Kevin Costner, who obviously was the big star of The Bodyguard, was the guy who actually forced the song into the movie. They were originally going to use What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, but that was being used in Fried Green Tomatoes. So Kevin Costner got the song. Clive Davis said, no, we're not doing that. He eventually came around And Kevin Costner had been a fan of Linda Ronstadt's version of the song. She had it in 1975, and Kevin Costner took it to the producers and to Whitney Houston, and they ended up using it. There was another version, a punk rock version of I Will Always Love You by some guy named John Doe. It was an LA punk band called X. Houston recorded two different versions of the song, one for the movie, one for the soundtrack album, and there's a lot of people who believe that the movie version is actually a better version. It had also been in a movie. Dolly Parton used it in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas back in 1982. It was the movie she did with Burt Reynolds. Let's see here. What else we got? Elvis was going to do a version of it. Colonel Tom Parker screwed that up because he was going to take half of all the proceeds, half of all the royalties from it. I Will Always Love You was Saddam Hussein's re-election theme song, if you can believe that, back in 2002. It's going to go on for months, folks. It's going to go on for months. All right, the Beach Boys, who had their big reunion, and I'm the biggest Brian Wilson Beach Boys fan ever. Not necessarily of all their hit songs about surfing and everything, but especially as they became a little more mature, and even some of the songs that they did without Brian Wilson, I think are some of the greatest songs ever recorded. I think God Only Knows is one of the great pop songs ever made. And things like Sail On Sailor and Don't Go Near the Water and Disney Girls, these are songs that almost nobody has ever heard of, but they were amazing songs recorded sort of after the whole surfing thing went out of vogue. The Beach Boys sort of became uncool and were sort of trying to find their way and did songs about the environment and everything, being California boys. So some awfully good stuff. Anyhow, 37 concert dates, no St. Louis date so far. Dave Matthews Band coming to the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater July 11th. Jenny McCarthy getting her own talk show on VH1. Larry King, meanwhile, splits from CNN. I know you're thinking, well, I thought he was replaced by Piers Morgan. Well, he was doing some specials and stuff like that, and that's over now, too. Cougar Town returned to ABC Tuesday night. The audience did not. Only 4.8 million viewers. That will get you canceled quicker than you can say Ticonderoga. Charlie Sheen has been using pictures from his 2.5 Men days to promote his upcoming show, Anger Management. The company that produces 2.5 Men wasn't crazy about that at all. They sent him a cease and desist. Charlie responded by calling them a steaming pile of ass. So, as we can see, Charlie is still in fine form. Clint Eastwood isn't going to like this. J.D. Power and Associates just released their annual survey of the most dependable vehicles. Chrysler came in dead last. Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Jaguar also finished at the bottom. Lexus and Porsche were ranked as the top two. You go through the mall, and you see these guys in these kiosks trying to sell these e-cigarettes. These cigarettes that don't, they emit steam or something, but they still deliver whatever it is people smoke for. I'm not a smoker, never have. I don't get it. I understand it's very addictive. I'm not sure what the little e-cigarettes are supposed to do for you. But if you think that's the answer, you might want to think again, because a 57-year-old guy in Florida was smoking his e-cigarette Monday night, and the thing exploded in his mouth. It was a faulty rechargeable battery. The explosion knocked out all of his teeth and part of his tongue. Have a nice day. The average movie ticket costs $7.93. $7.93 as we approach the Oscars, not this coming weekend, but next weekend. 62% of people in a new survey say they cut costs by either going to matinees, sneaking in their own food and drinks. 6% save money by sneaking into other movies when theirs ends. Rick Santorum almost received an endorsement from Dave Mustaine of Megadeth earlier this week. Meanwhile, Ron Paul has received an endorsement from Regular Death. The president's $3.8 trillion budget proposal has been released. It's so thick and heavy, Michelle Obama has been using it to do curls. All right, television tonight. Don't forget Fox 2's Dave Murray will be on with his spring weather half-hour special. That's at 9 o'clock, following American Idol. And you got Inside Comedy tonight on Showtime. This has been an interesting show to watch. David Steinberg, who is an old-school comedian, literally back in the 60s and some 70s. He was a funny guy. He's been a movie director and things like that recently. Got tonight at 10 o'clock St. Louis time on Showtime, interviewing Billy Crystal, Martin Short, and Brad Garrett I think they're together, but I'm not sure. Leno tonight is having an actress that you know, because she's been in a bunch of movies. She's got a bunch more coming out. Amanda. Her name is Amanda, and the last name is spelled Seyfried. You've probably seen her in some movies. She's got very, very big eyes. She's blonde. I have seen her without makeup, and I find her absolutely hideous looking. But when she's got the hair and the makeup and the lighting, apparently she's just one of those people who photographs particularly well when all the circumstances are right. And she's got those big eyes, and the camera generally is very kind to people who have very, very large eyes. Anyhow, Seyfried. What is the correct pronunciation of Amanda's last name? Wrong. The correct pronunciation, I'm giving you the correct pronunciation, and then never mind. Seyfried. Seyfried is the correct pronunciation of Amanda's last name. It was 44 years ago today, back in 1968, that George and Patty Harrison, along with John and Cynthia Lennon, flew to India for 2 months of transcendental meditation with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Later on, Ringo and his wife at the time, Paul McCartney, and Jane Asher, Mia Farrow, and Donovan joined the fun a couple of days later. The Beatles eventually bailed on the Maharishi because George Harrison realized he was a scam artist and only interested in chasing tail. So much for the TM. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. This is a particularly good one. At least it was for me. Hopefully you'll like it too. Tuesday night in Hollywood, the police start getting phone calls because they're like, there's some sort of UFO attack. And the police are like, holy crap, we see that too. And it appeared to be sparklers or something. They 3 or 4 of them descending down to the Hollywood area. Well, it turned out it was the Navy SEALs who were doing a nighttime parachute jump with like sparklers attached to their heels. And it was all part of the premiere of the new movie Act of Valor, which is opening very soon. And they were doing it on Sunset Boulevard. They had a camera apparently mounted to one of the skydivers, one of the Navy SEALs. So the whole thing is point of view, and it is fantastic. You got to look at this. It's great video, and it's right below what you're looking at right now. JC's Eye Candy today. All right, JC's Rock and Roll poll again. Pitchers and catchers going to Jupiter this weekend. They got a report. We'll see how Mike Matheny and the guys do. Ozzy will be there for the first time in many, many years because Tony's gone. Have you ever been to a Cardinal spring training game? Please answer in the corner, and we'll have results for you tomorrow. In the meantime, that is it. JC's Daily Dose for Thursday, February 16th, 2012, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.